So with Jujutsu Kaisen Cursed Clash dropping trailers like crazy, we gotta get our predictions in before we run out of time to actually get predictions, with already a lot of the roster already revealed. So that's gonna lead us into our anime questions for today. Which duo do you think is gonna be the biggest headache in this new game coming up? Me personally, I think it's going to be that Gojo and Geto combo. That is gonna be hard to deal with. But yeah, in today's video, we're basically gonna be predicting the rest of the Jujutsu Kaisen roster because they already announced 11 people. We're a little bit behind, so we got to get our last few predictions in before they actually finish the roster, and there's nothing to predict. So if there's something you think you might be interested in, stay tuned to the video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all of those nice things, and let's just go ahead and hop in straight to this content. So when we get into predicting the roster, we're going to try to go off the past a little bit. So in order to do that, you got to know one key thing, which is the developer of this game is going to be Viking, which is also the company that's behind My Heroes One Justice 1 and 2, and also a game that we recently just got, My Heroes Ultra Rumble, which gives us hope that, you know, these characters are very much going to be very unique and different, as we're already seeing, and as we've seen with My Hero Ultra Rumble with some of the characters. So when we look at some of the past games, My Heroes One Justice 1, they had 25 characters in total, with 4 of these being, you know, unlockable or DLC content, so actually 21 characters at launch. My Heroes One Justice 2 actually bumped the roster up to 40 characters with additional 11 DLCs, so bringing it out to 51 characters. And their most recent game, My Hero Ultra Rumble, had a launch of 18 characters, which is pretty good for a battle royale, and they're all included in the game. So when we think of Jujutsu Kaisen Cursed Clash, considering they've already announced 11 characters, I'm thinking they're going to go a little bit in the middle, and I think they're going to probably follow the trend of maybe My Heroes One Justice 1 and Ultra Rumble, and I think the final roster is going to be 20 characters. But going off of how Jujutsu Kaisen the story was and everything, I think that the roster is mainly going to be composed of, you know, the good Jujutsu sorcerers. I don't think we're going to have a lot of the bad curses and things like that. But we're going with 20 characters for the final roster, and hey, that means that we got to give y'all the rest of the predictions. So if you don't know, characters that we already have confirmed in the game is going to be Itadori, Megumi, Sukuna, Gojo, Jogo, Hanami, Todo, Maki, Panda, Toge, and Nobara. So that means that we only have 9 spots left. So when we get into some of these characters that we think we're going to get, some characters I think are going to be very interesting to get is going to be Yuta, of course. He played a very key role in the Jujutsu Kaisen Zero movie, and with his cursed spirit manifestation, he's going to be very interesting. I think he'll probably play a little bit similar to Megumi, but from what I've seen in the anime, it seems like he has a decent amount more better, like, you know, close quarters combat. So it's going to be very interesting to see what he does. Another character that we got to have is, we got to continue the Zenin family. So we got to have Mai Zenin, and I feel like she's mainly going to be a ranged type fighter, similar to how Nobara fights, which is going to be interesting to see how, you know, they find a way to implement her guns and things like that. I think we're also going to get Koichi Muta or Mekamaru, and I feel like also he's going to be similar in the sense of like Megumi and also Yuta with his puppet technique. I feel like he's going to be, you know, more of a person that also can fight with the mid-range type fighting style. Move over to the next one. It's going to be Kamo Noritoshi, and this is basically the guy that was one of the people from the Kyoto school, and he uses the blood manipulation. So you know you got to throw somebody in there if they're using blood manipulation. I think he's going to be pretty cool, and I think he's going to be a pretty balanced character that, you know, could probably strike from a distance, also with some defensive abilities, maybe some area range abilities. I think he's going to be pretty cool. Over to the next person that we're going to have to get. Now look, I know what I said, but considering that we have more spots in the roster now, I have to revert myself back, and I do think we will get Momo. But it's going to be very interesting to see how they implement her, because her thing is tool manipulation, which is how she's able to fly on her little broom thingy. But how is that going to work in this game? Because it doesn't seem like a lot of the characters really just have aerial combat besides Gojo. So if they have her like flying around, they're going to have to find some way to balance. And maybe she won't just be flying. Maybe it's more so going to be like some of her techniques to be able to fly. But we don't really just see her on the ground fighting that much. So it's going to be interesting to see how they implement Momo. And then I also think we're going to get, so this is going to be another character we're going to get, which is going to be Nanami. We've already talked about Nanami. We've talked about him plenty of times, and there's no way that you release this game without Nanami. I think it's going to be pretty interesting for them to use his curse technique, which is basically finding the weak point. So this is probably going to translate to probably like some type of extremely critical strike or something like that, which I think is going to be pretty interesting. I'm also curious if he's going to be like close range or if he's going to be mid range, since you know he has like his hatchet. So that's going to be pretty cool with him. And then yeah, I know from what you're hearing right now, you're like, bro, you haven't said like any bad characters. And that's why I'm saying when it comes to this game having 20 characters, villains that actually played a real key role in the first season in the movie, I don't think there's just a lot to really push out some of these good characters we're having, some of these normal Jujutsu sorcerers, which means our villains, I'm thinking that the only other ones we're going to get is going to be Mahito, of course, because he played such a key role in the first season, and we're going to be utilizing, you know, his idol transformation and also the changing the souls and being able to manipulate souls. I wonder if he, you know, he might be able to, like, you know, to summon a minion or something like that on the field, but probably not, nothing like that. It'll probably be him maybe changing forms or, you know, being able to use his blades and things like that. I definitely think his movement is going to be pretty unique, and I think he's going to be a pretty fast fighter. And then we can't talk about villains without including my boy Suguro Geto. And I think with Geto, I think that we're going to get the version that we saw in the Jujutsu Kaisen 0 movie. I don't think we're going to get the version that we see in Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 in the past, just because I think that all the content we're going to get for this game that's not DLC is going to be following Season 1, which is meaning any Season 2 characters, I believe they are all going to be DLC. So people like Mei Mei and also Ino and Choso, I think these are all going to be later characters that we see into the game. But this is my prediction right here. This is my 20 characters that I'm predicting for the game. So let me know, if y'all agree with my predictions or if you disagree. I know we kind of reverted back and went against our word with the Momo thingy, but after looking at the numbers and things like that, it's very possible they could release this game with 20 characters. 19 just doesn't sound right, and I mean, they could do 18 just like they did with My Hero Ultra Rumble, and if that's the case, I think they would more than likely get rid of Momo and probably get rid of the guy that does the blood manipulation. But let me know in the comments what y'all think about my predictions for the final roster. Who do y'all need as the first DLCs in this game? And like I said, let me know in the comments which combo, which pair do you think is going to give you the most trouble in this game. But I'm going to see y'all on the next one, man. Yeah.